Welcome, everybody, to International Podcast Day. That's right, September 30th, International Podcast Day, according to somebody who anointed that back in 2014 to celebrate the over 4 million podcasts. 4 million. I had no idea. And then there's me and my little Type Tune Tint podcast here with my small but loyal audience. Hey, you got to start someplace, right? Not everybody's Joe Rogan. He's the single most popular podcast in the world. He's got, I read, 1 billion listeners. That's staggering. That's the population of a couple of countries. My podcast, Type Tune Tint, a little bit more modest. I have my small but loyal following out there. If I could get 500 downloads in a week, I'd be thrilled. But no, I have you folks, my loyal followers, and I thank you and I appreciate it. Podcasts have been around since the early 2000s. Apparently, it was an Apple invention. Podcast comes from the words iPod and broadcast. Apple combined them into a podcast, and they started off modestly, but by 2004, I'm told, they really kind of started taking off as people basically rediscovered radio, right? They found that there were kind of podcasts that catered to almost every interest, every niche, every kind of thing you could possibly want in a little intimate broadcast that went right to your iPhone, right to your car, right to your computer. And so now there's a podcast for every possible interest, every possible product, every occupation, every function, every dysfunction. There's podcasts about mental illness, about mental wellness, you name it, and it's out there. My podcast, of course, as you all know, as my small but loyal audience, is about creativity and people who might not otherwise have found creativity, but found it in an unlikely place or found it later in life or whatever. I try to have new episodes twice a month. My episodes run around half an hour. I've listened to podcasts that go on for, an hour, even longer. And, I can barely sit still for, a half hour episode of some TV show. So I kind of assume everybody has my short attention span, so I shoot for a half hour episode. It's actually turned out to be really just kind of the perfect length. I usually interview my subjects for more than half an hour and then do a little bit of editing, usually cut out my own crap, and try to come up with a professional sounding and professional looking episode. I started doing these as videos in 2023 because it's a video world, Here's a reason why people can do podcasts so easily. It costs almost nothing to do a podcast. This is my setup. There's a computer, a $100 microphone, a $40 microphone holder, a little lamp that I bought that's a desk lamp I basically bought on Amazon for $40. Behind me is a green screen that I bought from Amazon for $35. The green screen is what makes my backgrounds possible without that kind of squiggly line around the head, I also have a window with a blind, and that takes care of my side light. And I have a ceiling light in this room that I can control the brightness of. And this is it's a second bedroom that I set up a desk and I set this up to do these recordings. I have 2 wall hangings against the wall that are supposedly soundproof or sound absorbing. And that's it. You can record, a podcast for free using your iPhone, using a computer, using whatever, with the built-in recording program that it comes with. Most computers come with something basic. Some podcasts choose not to do any editing, which makes it simple. You record it, you hit stop, and you upload it to your podcast platform. That does bring me to the one area that's going to probably cost you, which is the platform to host your podcast. The reason that's important is because you want your podcast to be heard across all the available podcasting platforms, whether it be iTunes or Spotify or Amazon or whatever. There's, a couple dozen of those. Most podcast platforms will make it available across those. I happen to use Buzzsprout. I use Buzzsprout because it's simple. The interface is easy. And it's only $12 a month. For $12 a month, I can upload 3 hours worth of content. But since I only do 2, maybe 3 episodes tops a month at 30 minutes each, that's way under the amount of money. that you have to spend. I do like to do a little bit of editing, mostly to cut out my own mistakes. To edit audio, you can do it for free. There are free open source programs out there that you can download for free and use for free, and they're not bad. You can look those up. I use Adobe Audition, which is part of the Adobe Creative Suite that I unfortunately already pay for the other Adobe products. But there's a very popular program out there called Hindenburg. That's, again, pretty user-friendly, and I think there's a free version of that. You shop around and find yourself a program that works, because being able to edit, cut out your ers and your ums and your screw-ups, and sometimes your subject might want to change an answer. It's good to be able to do that. The vast majority of podcasts are free. You just have to open up a podcast venue and type in the name, type Tune Tint, Joe Rogan, whatever it is, or you can even just type in a subject, and your podcast downloading platform will find those podcasts for you, and you can listen for free. And all of them beg you for donations, like I do. The donation in my case would be, a minimum of $3 a month. It's $36 a year. It goes on your credit card. My subscribers can get advance screenings of podcast interviews. And at some point, I will create specifically exclusive content just for subscribers. Mostly it's about supporting my platform and the costs of doing a podcast, which, as I said, are minimal. But if you maintain a website and you maintain a hosting service and you do graphics and you do other stuff, the costs do add up. So I appreciate all those of you who keep coming back a couple times a month. I've got more stuff coming up. I am always looking for creative people, or people who didn't know they were creative and suddenly realized they could do stuff. My podcast episodes and the video versions are all available on the Type Tune Tint website, typetunetint.com, no punctuation. Also on there is my blog, which accompanies pretty much every one of my podcasts. So if you go to the blog and find something that interests you, you'll see my written blog followed by the podcast embedded itself. And if there's a video version, the video version will be there too. So it's one-stop shopping. Anyway, I appreciate you stopping by and listening. Keep on downloading. I urge you one more time, consider subscribing, $3 a month. Hey, help me sleep well at night. All right. I appreciate you listening very much. Thanks for stopping by.